The money sitting in your bank account right now is governed by a very strict set of rules, and those rules are quietly being rewritten by the people who control them. The United States Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the man legally responsible for managing America's finances and issuing its debt, recently stood at a podium and stated that we are in the middle of a Bretton Woods realignment. These words reflect an unusually honest description of a deliberate policy objective coming from the center of American financial power. The last time the world went through a Bretton Woods realignment, the mathematical reality of wealth shifted permanently. It happened faster than most citizens realized. The difference between understanding this transition as it unfolds and ignoring it is the dividing line between an entire generation seeing their wealth grow or watching it quietly disappear. To understand the realignment, we have to look at the original agreement. In 1944, delegates from 44 nations gathered to design a new financial architecture. They agreed the US dollar would serve as the world's reserve currency, and crucially, that every dollar would be physically convertible to gold at exactly $35 an ounce. This physical constraint meant the supply of dollars was naturally limited by the physical gold the US held in its vaults. That leash kept inflation low and provided the monetary stability that built the broad-based American middle-class prosperity of the 1950s and 60s. This chart shows exactly what broke the system. As massive chunks of the budget dollar were consumed by the dual expenses of the Vietnam War and 1960s social programs, the US required more money than its gold supply could support. The government began printing more receipts than it had physical assets to back. Other nations noticed the math failing. France, under Charles de Gaulle, demanded their contractual right to exchange their dollar holdings for physical gold. To stop the total drain of US reserves, President Nixon unilaterally suspended the dollar's convertibility to gold in 1971. That suspension created the modern unbacked fiat currency. For 54 years, we have lived inside this temporary experiment where money naturally loses value over time. And now, the architects of that system are engineering a managed exit from it. When you read about a weakening dollar, it is easy to assume it is an accident or a failure of policy. The reality is the opposite. The Treasury Department is acting as the architect of a deliberate strategy to bring down the value of its own currency. The first policy lever is a targeted depreciation of the dollar by 20 to 40%. The explicit goal here is to make American manufactured exports cheaper in global markets, to reverse heavy trade deficits. The second lever is an aggressive unwinding of the regulatory architecture established after the 2008 financial crisis. Stripping away these regulations increases the banking sector's capacity to create credit and debt, which acts as a structural driver of long-term inflation. The third lever is a system of broad tariffs meant to force international supply chains to relocate back to the United States. While this successfully rebuilds domestic industry, the immediate mathematical result is that consumers pay significantly higher upfront prices for imported goods. Taken together, dollar depreciation, deregulation, and tariffs form a highly coordinated strategy. The administration is choosing to sacrifice the purchasing power of the currency to rebuild the nation's industrial base. To see exactly how this impacts cautious savers, we have to look at the mathematical illusion embedded in bank balances.
Let's say you hold exactly $100,000, which buys you a specific basket of real-world goods. If the Treasury effectively executes its policy and depreciates the dollar by 20%, your nominal account balance doesn't move. You still see $100,000 on your screen. But that policy shrinks the international purchasing power of your funds down to $80,000 of real value. Your numbers stayed exactly the same, but a fifth of your actual wealth was removed. This continuous, compounding wealth transfer operates seamlessly in the background, requiring absolutely no awareness or consent from the person holding the account. When the government openly announces a policy of currency depreciation, parking your wealth in cash is no longer a conservative choice. It is a mathematically guaranteed loss. To verify that this structural shift is actually happening, we only need to observe the behavior of institutional managers. Since 2001, global central banks have quietly dropped the dollar's share of their reserves from 71% down to 58%. At the same time, the expanding coalition of BRICS nations is actively constructing alternative payment networks, explicitly designed to settle international trade while completely bypassing the US dollar. And most tellingly, dozens of nations operating under wildly different political systems bought over 1,000 tons of physical gold last year, sustaining record-breaking levels of accumulation. The officials making these purchases understand the mechanics of money better than anyone. Their persistent accumulation of gold proves they no longer view the post-1971 fiat dollar system as a reliable foundation for their sovereign reserves. The officials managing national reserves are executing a gradual but persistent transition away from dollar dominance. Meanwhile, many individual savers remain in cash, fully exposed to the currency's planned depreciation. Navigating this environment requires understanding your actual exposure. The immediate risk is the cash trap of holding liquid fiat, but there is also severe danger in holding heavily concentrated index funds built on multinational corporations whose international revenues will be disrupted by these currency adjustments. To maintain purchasing power during this specific phase, capital naturally flows towards scarcity. That means allocating to physical assets like gold, silver, and productive real estate, materials that hold their value precisely because government policy cannot print more of them. Beyond physical scarcity, capital is moving towards domestic manufacturing and energy infrastructure. The government's combination of tariffs and deregulation is structurally designed to drive investment directly back into these specific American industries. The primary mistake investors make in these transitions is falling for the timing trap. They wait for the market to confirm the shift. In 1971, the people who waited for absolute certainty missed a generational wealth event, as gold surged from $35 an ounce to over $800. We do not have to guess if this transition is real. The U.S. Treasury Secretary has stated on the public record that the restructuring is currently underway. The rules of money have changed twice in the last 80 years, and they are changing again now. The architecture of the monetary system is being updated, and the interval between recognizing this transition and seeing it reflected in the price of every asset is the only variable still within your control.